Hey guys, we're back for series segment 2. I don't know what we're talking about. We covered high ground, defending high ground today. There wasn't a whole lot of that, it seemed like.
It was getting ass beat.
Well,
Okay, so
did you lose all three?
oh yeah, we
Oh,
lost all three
jeez.
then.
It didn't feel like it, honestly. It didn't feel like it. There were some good parts, I would say.
I felt so. What I just said at the end of the stream on my stream was, I felt pretty good about the Crystal Maiden game, but had a few questions early game.
Okay.
Or I should say question marks early game, because I'm still not quite sure how to value the ability to pull so much.
Yeah.
I felt extremely helpless early game in the Lion game, which made it hard for me to evaluate if I was doing well or poorly after that. And the Enchantress game was really weird because it was carry Earthshaker support Sven.
That's what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay. So I was
And
watching the game
Mirana
and I
and
was like,
Awfully Darkseer.
this Earthshaker's kind of messing around, but whatever, he's ahead, right? Not a big deal. Okay, that makes way more sense.
And for that reason, I was not very sure what to do.
Yeah.
Also, I accidentally played a Lion game instead of a Nyx game. I don't I don't know what happened there.
I think I tricked you because I said Lion initially, but I think I might have changed my mind and said Nyx instead. I can't remember, but it's fine. Lion was on my short list anyways.
Sick.
So I guess we can cover them in a row because I've got a bunch of clips. Do you have any like overarching questions that you have before we go into specific games?
More of a comment. I was really surprised how much of an effect the jungle stuff had, because that's the first time I've actually played as a support since the new patch. I mean, the patch has been out for 2 days.
Yeah.
It felt dramatically different.
Yeah, it's really noticeable, isn't it? Like, if you don't sit in your lane,
I was not,
or have a solo lane, you level really slowly. Like, I was seeing what times you were hitting 6. It was around 12 minutes, I think.
I felt really slow on my 6s.
Yeah, me too. In almost all my games. And for that reason, Lion might be bad right now, honestly. Just because how else are you supposed to get your level 6? It's basically hero kills is kind of what I'm thinking is my theory right now. It's like if you're not killing heroes, you are not going to level up rapidly. That's my guess.
I especially felt that with Enchantress, where I was constantly checking my levels, and it was like, you're 2, friend. That's who you are. Yeah. You're a 2er.
And that has a lot to do with, are your ganks successful? I feel like that's even more important right now, which I feel like could lead to people enjoying the game maybe a little bit less, because the way I think about it is, if you're not a lane hero, you're going to have trouble getting levels and farm. If you're a roaming or jungle hero or support, the only way you get levels ideally is a little bit by pulling, but definitely by killing. So if your ganks fail, then you're going to have a bad time. It's just not going to be quite as fun. Because if you could just AFK jungle but still get items at a good speed, you're like, whatever, I don't care if I lose. I farmed fast in the jungle. Like, it feels good, right? So curious if that continues.
Yeah, so I think that the biggest questions I have is how should I even think about coping with that? And then, there wasn't a lot of high ground defense stuff. I think my ward placement and behavior was improved. I think there were a few ward placements that I did that were worse, but I was much happier because I felt like I had a purpose for them.
Yeah, rather than just being like, hey, it's a cliff, I'll put a ward there, right?
Yeah. I think that the other thing I'd love commentary on was the ganks, because I noticed 2 things. One, it was much harder to get the ganks to go successfully if I wasn't yelling at my teammates a lot. I had, I think, 3 or 4 ganks in the Enchantress game where someone just went, and I was like, wait! So I think I need to just be more adamant about signaling. But also, it felt like there were much fewer opportunities to gank, and I couldn't tell if I was overforcing it. So just sort of the higher level layer of ganking if I'm trying to do it too much.
Yeah, we can definitely cover that stuff. So let's hop in first for... we'll cover the gank stuff later, obviously, but the laning and pulling stuff was definitely your biggest downfall, I feel, for your first 2 games. Obviously, it's a bit of a new skill, so naturally it's going to be a little tough. But to cover the basics, again, let's think about your order of operations. It is, number 1, can I zone the offlaner? Number 2, if I can't zone the offlaner or it's really dangerous, then I should pull, is the way you should.
Okay, so I literally thought it was change those order of operations and focus on pulling more.
Okay, I could have clarified that better, definitely.
I don't actually think you said that. I think I just decided that all on my own.
but I made a lot of emphasis towards pulling a lot, which I should have said pull a lot if you have the potential. Whereas before it was more like do a stack, keep doing side pulls, kind of zone the guy. But now you can be more greedy hypothetically, but it's obviously to a detriment of the lane. So
Okay,
with that
so
said,
actually, if I can re-steer this whole thing for a little bit. Okay, so in terms of the layers of knowledge here, right? Like, what is your big goal? It's to make sure that your carry is nice and safe, and that you make sure the equilibrium is good for him. And then you also want to make sure that you get some levels and experience via pulling and all that sort of good stuff, right? That's like the most high level thing. And then you take a step down, and we say, okay, zone the offlaner. And then here are the techniques to do that. And here is a really specific flow that you might do at this second in time. Come back and do this to stack pull, and push the lane and do this. That's where you talk about the techniques and kind of how to order them in order to actually achieve that. And then I feel like I'm struggling a layer below, like on this middle layer and the layer below, which is I'm Crystal Maiden, and I'm not actually the best at zoning. And I also have the extraordinary ability to deal 1,000 damage to a creep. And I'm real fucking confused about how to value that, because you saw that I spent a lot of time early on doing jungle camp stuff. So, I mean, I would love even specific detailed stuff with CM, because I think I'm actually going to start off-stream limiting my hero pool a lot and try to go like very deep and understand CM well.
I think that's a great idea considering the patch change as well. I think it's definitely time to constrict for a bit. So I think that'll be okay. Okay, in terms of some of that order of operations stuff, this is start of the game. Usually the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes is the most important by far for basically assessing like how far was your first, I don't know, what's like a football reference? Like how far did your punt go? Like it's if you have a bad first punt, it forces you to react in a lot of negative ways where it's really easy for your opponent to score. So if you mess some of these things up, it can be really detrimental. So you started the game basically by stacking the large camp and then jungling it. You had already killed the large hellbear, and this is the second one. First thing that really stood out to me is your levels are just bad. Like you killed the first hellbear, and normally you're at like 70% of level towards level 2.
That was like I literally had a mini panic there, where that was the big motivator for me coming over here. So I'm like, I'm not close to level 2, man.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy, shit. But it definitely affects things. So to analyze how this lane is, Slark is not an offlane hero, but if he's trading 1v1 against somebody that's actually weaker than him in lane, then it's not a big deal. So this is like one of the few situations where Slark is actually better in this 1v1. With that said, like you said, CM is a terrible trader early on, so I don't know if you could really make a huge impact here, but I think what the better move might have been is maybe just spam frostbites on the Slark, honestly. Just like walk up and hit him and spam frostbites without letting him get in melee range against you, and do your best to zone until Spectre gets at least like boots or something, because they give him like a couple 100 gold advantage. I don't think you're going to be able to zone perfectly, but considering that you can start pulling whenever you want, I think honestly that would have been better, because this guy was a rager and he was bad.
That's really useful to hear. Oh yeah, no, I think I blocked him almost immediately.
Yeah.
There were a few people that I heard speak and went, no, not this is my Wednesday. I'm going to preserve the joy that I feel on this Wednesday. Okay, so
because he died right away, right? And if he dies right away, then that means whatever Slark has, he's going to be an extra item up, which means he ends up getting an Orb of Venom with this, which is one of the reasons you ended up dying later, because he got this really fast kill.
This is so useful to hear, because like the fact that there's that like you should do this but you'll hate your life, that's really nice to hear for me, to be like, yeah, I guess you can frostbite him a little bit, but
it sucks, but you've got 2 clarity potions is the reason that it would have been effective.
Yeah.
Do you know why you died here mainly? Other than the Orb of Venom?
Other than the Orb of Venom, I guess I shouldn't have been in that position, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
that's the main one. The other one is that you've used 2 frostbites right now, and you've got 2 clarity sitting in your inventory, and I know that you don't do anything for at least like 30 seconds here.
Oh yeah, totally.
You could have had like an extra 100 mana. So that was by far the main reason. But also, when you get to this kind of a situation, you see a Slark running at you, there's like honestly no hero that CM's happy to trade with. I can't think of any. I don't think there's a single hero where you're like, yeah, I'm happy to let that guy hit me in melee range. It just, you're slow, you do low damage, you have no armor. And turning to right-click him here completely made the difference, because at that point, it just gave him the easiest pounce ever. Because he waited to hit you before he went for this. Like, he's not going to miss this pounce, you know?
Yeah, for some reason I thought like, well, he's not going to stay and fight, and then I was just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like,
Oh my god, I'm Crystal Maiden.
yeah, this wasn't like super thoroughly thought out because it obviously happened in a very short period of time. But I was just like, no, I guess I can hit it. But yeah,
You also
this is. Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Damn.
Oh,
You also
look at
could have
that.
used a tango, like especially when you're pounced. Because once you get pounced here,
Oh,
you're
of
not
course.
going anywhere
Yeah.
anyways. Just shoot right here, and that
Yeah.
actually would have given your HP enough that you could have turned and frostbite him under tower. Would have been another big thing. But at this point, you're screwed. Like there's nothing you could do at this point. Because if you turn and frostbite, he'll
Yeah.
catch up.
You know, I
So.
think there's something that I need to do every time before a game, which is just remind myself really basic shit that I need to do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this used to happen to me a ton in StarCraft as well, where I would be so focused on the new different thing that I was doing that basic things like building overlords, I would just forget all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like not using the clarity potion is so weird.
Yeah.
Like you buy them so you can frostbite things in the jungle, and I'm frostbiting things in the jungle, and I'm like, cool, 2 clarities, perfect, good, move on with life.
Yeah. And if you miss those basics, then it puts you in situations like this where you just end up dying. You also didn't try to pull through, but I'm guessing that was because I know your ally yelled at you in this moment, and he also was TPing back into the tower, so maybe it was scary, but...
It was this moment that when I pulled back, that's me, and I think I was saying this out loud on stream, I don't know when I'm supposed to pull through.
Yeah.
Damn it, fuck my life.
So let me clarify that a little bit, since we never went through that very well in the first week. So basically, the way it works is, if you do a normal pull, which means that the melee creeps are the ones dying first, usually the time that you pull is when, of the 3 creeps that spawn, one of them has full HP, and one of them has like 10-20%. Is usually when you start it.
Oh,
so around
okay.
there. It's slightly different if they die in different orders. If the range creep dies first, then the order is off because the DPS of the wave is way worse. And you did that a lot today where you do a pull and the range creep would die first and it would take forever. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
So wait until that's 1 full creep and a little bit more than that. Then you start the pull through and you pull them to about here. That's how you do it. Best thing to do is just to practice it a little bit. And usually you can get the first last hit and maybe the third. You'll never get the second last hit. If you're a melee hero, you might not even get one. But as a range hero, you can usually get the first last hit. You would do it standing over here. Get the last hit, start walking down, keep your eye over here, and make sure you know where Slark is.
So really, it's primarily an XP thing.
Yes, and also that you know that if this connects, then this creep wave will finish and die on the large camp. So that's what's so nice about the camp spawning every minute, is that as long as a minute has hit and nobody killed your creeps or blocked the camps, you know that you can pull through instantly. You don't have to stack first. And you can do that all while ensuring that your opponent doesn't get more experience. Another important thing to remember, actually, is that the experience when a creep gets denied did go up. But if a neutral kills it, I think it's still 50%. I'm not 100% on that, but I noticed it wasn't in the patch notes. So that means pulling and creeps being denied by pulls is actually still more detrimental to offlaners than you denying them is, unless you want the experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's basically math to let us conclude that I shouldn't change my behavior up and sit in lane denying. I should just still be doing pull-throughs.
I think so, yeah. Which is it's kind of a rewarding for pulling. So let's go on to the next clip. We spent plenty on this one. So because that first minute went bad with the Spectre dying and then you dying, then you're kind of in this bad situation the whole time. This is an example of the bad pull. These creeps do tons of damage because they do piercing, and now it's going to be a pain just to kill this. This is kind of good because it would guarantee that you've basically done just a small camp pull, which guarantees these creeps will die. Those will end up dying, but obviously it's a mistake if you're trying to pull through. When you're chasing him here, you novaed way too early. You basically revealed that you were here before he needed to know. If he doesn't have a ward, you should have waited until, I don't know, probably like, he might have seen you there, but I would have probably novaed about here.
Okay. I mean, I think wait, really? I thought this was a different kill.
This is the lane one. And also going this way, I think slowed you down a little bit. I would prefer the diagonal angle, which is a little bit better for a cutoff. And then the main problem was that other than you going in a little bit early, the Spectre didn't attack move. See him not moving here. And because of that, the Slurk got out of range a little bit faster.
I also don't think our Spectre needed to pursue.
Yeah, you probably could have chased a Novid. Totally agree. So small mistakes there.
Can you go back to the
Yeah.
Nova moment, because I don't think I understood why I should have Nova'd later.
So as soon as you Nova, he knows you're here, which means, hey, it's time to run. Spectre also slightly revealed that because Spectre used a dagger about here, but that could have been seen as him getting a last hit. So as
Yeah.
soon as you Nova, he runs. Whereas if you wait until...
Okay,
Keep
it's
jumping too
about
far.
preserving an element of surprise. Because for
Exactly.
me, I was like, oh, okay, this will stop him sooner, so I can frostbite him sooner. Because I was worried he would get away.
But yeah, when you Nova, he starts running. Whereas he might stay if you
Right,
don't Nova.
makes sense.
Or even if you get 2 steps farther and he's thinking like, should I go in? And all of a sudden the dagger hits, or the dagger comes out, then he starts running. Maybe you get 1 extra right click in early, and then you guys wouldn't have had to dive, and the Spectre wouldn't have died anyways. But ultimately, all this happens as a result of the death set that began the laning stage. Like Sark has 2 kills at this point, which is pretty much out of control for an offlane hero. So your guys' game was kind of in a bad spot already. Your first pickup was a magic wand. I kind of like that you were roaming. I think this is one question you had on stream, and most of the games. Like, I don't know what to do right now. So let's take a circumstance like this where your Spectre is losing his game, he's losing his lane, and he's laning against a guy that he can't lane against very well. So usually your best move is to, if possible, kill the offlane hero, but it's usually not possible just 2. So it would be better to grab a 3rd hero to come with you, or to just go gank somewhere else that is going to be viable for a gank. And a wand is usually the item you want to buy early, but I think you really needed a dust here. Because if you ever gank an Invoker, he's going to have the opportunity to Ghost Walk. And especially when you're CM, when you have weak amounts of disable with 3 points in your passive, you need to have that invis
Right.
reveal. Because this guy's actually quite hard to kill. You didn't attack
So
there before nuking, for example.
yeah, I mean, like I know I didn't attack before nuking, but I thought that would be good because I can deliberately slow him down at a longer range and then walk up to him.
So
Or were you saying in this particular circumstance I was clearly within range anyways?
I don't know if this guy can probably see you right now for sure, but your thought should be not use. You shouldn't be using your disables to catch up to him. You should be using your disables to keep him in place longer, so that you have more time to right click him.
Okay.
Because your disables alone aren't going to guarantee your kill. Like, between your Frostbite and your Nova, you have 250 magic damage, and this guy probably has 800 HP. He's got 960 HP, and he's got a magic wand. Like, that, your nukes are going to get reduced down to like, it's like 180 damage or something like that. It's like actually nothing. So the only way you kill this Invoker is if you guys right click him a shitload and keep him disabled for a very long time. It's not going to work with those two, like just between CM and Tinker, very unlikely because you don't have enough damage. Maybe if you had more points in Frostbite or something like that, or instead of Aura, it could maybe work, but you're slightly using
I
your
see.
disables wrong. It's kind of the same as the Sark
Yeah.
one. You're using it to catch up when it should be get in a
To
good position
guarantee
to
damage,
maximize
yeah.
right clicks, exactly. So you don't have to use it to catch up.
I got away. I should have W'd her.
You also
A
could
little
have Tengoed
sooner.
here.
Of course.
You also didn't Nova. I believe you might have been able to Nova here.
Can you rewind and take a look real fast?
Sure. Jump it just a little bit. Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe not. If you tangoed, for sure. But it's not like there was a lot of tango. Maybe you could eat this one. Then your Tinker just kind of sucked. He could have just like bottle lasered here, I think. See if you see any mistakes.
I feel like he could have just turned and shot a lot sooner.
Okay. Here's another case where if you had a Dust, Invoker does 100% sees HP.
Yeah.
He's standing right here. And you also got confused about Ghost Walk. When this buff is active, that means he's within AoE of you. So at this moment,
Oh, fuck. I always forget that.
you should know that he's not there anymore. And if this guy's still affected, you can see the animation makes him white with these little, like,
Yeah.
that means that he is south. If it's not
God, I
affected.
always forget that. Yeah. Got it.
So, but all this would be solved by having a Dust. For sure the second kill. The first one, probably. You probably aren't going to get that kill no matter what. Kind of similar thing. I like the angle that you approached at here, but kind of same problem. You have really weak disables. Did you see the mistakes you made?
Same order that I used my gank not to maximize damage. I should have walked up and right clicked and then gone Q W.
Correct. And see anything else? Oops, I'm sorry. Let's go back.
I suppose I could have come in at an even more extreme angle and popped out from behind this tree instead of
No, that was fine.
straight.
You didn't cancel your animations. Look how much time your hero spends casting spells, especially the frostbite.
Yeah, dude, I actually have to just go practice this, just like do spell canceling stuffs, because I think I just don't do this with almost any of the heroes.
The way you should think about it is just cast your spell. Just override the spell cast animation instantly is the best way. Either way, you weren't going to get that kill with just 1 point of Nova, 1 point of Frostbite, but small things to min-max there.
Yeah, I actually want to test something real fast, because I want to see if when I hit my Q with Crystal Maiden, if I can just spam right-click and keep moving afterward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think should be able to.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Because in StarCraft, if you tell something to cast a spell and then you issue a command, it just cancels the spell.
It should do that as well, yes.
It doesn't do that actually with like Frost Nova. Like if I hit Q left click and then spam right click, the spell doesn't go. The spell goes off. Do I have an option that I should change?
maybe there's some kind of like an override. Yeah, there might be an option. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad thing. The question that we care about right here is more because I think the way Dota works is it only cancels your animation if you press S, I think. Once you cast your spell and you're casting your spell, it only cancels once you press S. Therefore, it's better that way. All you have to do is cancel the backswing. So if you try to cast a spell and you get interrupted, and then you right-click the ground, then your hero will right-click the ground and move somewhere. All you need to do is do a command after you do your animation, is basically it. So after you cast your spell, that's when you need to right-click the ground to move faster, or right-click them to attack fast, more rapidly. That's the problem you're having.
Yeah, I think that like I can actually hit Q, and as my spell's being cast, begin to right-click spam, and the spell completes, and then it cancels the animation.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah,
so that's crazy. Yeah.
There was a lot of times where you just weren't doing anything. Like you said, you were jungling. We're 13 minutes in. You've got 3 wards in your inventory, and you're killing a wildkin.
So sick.
What I would look at for this game is you've got a Spectre who's a weak lane carry. He needs cover to farm items. So what I would do is make sure to put wards down to make sure that he was protected. So this would have been a great time to have a lane ward down. Just put it like over here in the lane. Or maybe if you get over here, you can put it on the cliff or something. That way, if you can see these ganks coming. Like this still went really, really well for you guys. But it was overly dangerous. And you were looking to ulti here, but you also could have used tangos to get a little closer to cut through, which would have been slightly more effective. Either way, it was still good. But it definitely could have been a little better.
That was that was like the first time I've actually seen that insane range on on her ultimate. I had no idea that it actually went that far. That was me kind of guessing.
Yeah, it's randomly targeted AoE, so if it lands at the AoE at the end, yeah, it can hit a lot of stuff. We're 2 minutes later, you still have the same 3 wards, you haven't placed them yet. You definitely had a little bit too much of getting into periods of time where you just thought you'd jungle. And normally I'd say like gank while you're warding, but this game it might have been better just to get wards done. You also made a very small mistake here with the Slark. I felt like the Slark... Basically, I feel like if somebody sees you, you don't necessarily want to ulti right in their face. What I would have preferred, I think, is if you just rounded the corner a little bit and then ultied. That way, it's like they won't necessarily know for sure that you're starting your ultimate, and you got a little blocked on it. Like you kind of decided which way to run. You ended up coming this way because if you're around the corner, if you just walk to the corner instead of just ulti right here, he might have to round the corner just to see that you're ulting before he realizes it. And the axe won't have the most obvious like, oh, I need to go in and kill the CM here. So it still worked out because the Tinker saved you, but just a small tip about that. This is you getting killed because of the patch. This should have been a Slark kill. How does it feel to be nerfed? Your ultimate should be off cooldown right now because it got changed from like 90 seconds to 110. I don't know if you felt that in that moment.
What happened? But no. I use that ability so infrequently in some of my past games that like...
I just thought it was good. It's literally a an exact moment that Slark should be dead, like 100%. Look at this guy's HP. 100% that he dies if you ulti here. Unless he blink calls you, I guess, but maybe
Dude, the number of times I tried to ulti this game and I was like 80 or 20 mana short, it was like so painful.
Yeah, another thing you could do is just not level it up to level 2. That way it only costs 200 mana instead of 400. It's a possibility.
I'm doing that, man. That is totally me next game.
Okay. Do you remember this time? This is when you went to go push mid, and you're like, I think this is dangerous.
Yeah.
That's okay that you realize that, but I think the move would have been just get less creeps. Like, just by killing the range creep and 1 melee, you're already good. Like, at this point, you can leave. Sure, you don't get 2 last hits that are right there, but if you know it's dangerous, if you just limit the amount of time that you're there, then it lowers the chance of you getting caught. Like, even skipping this last creep might have saved you. Especially if you glimmer on the way out.
Yeah, is that a reasonable thing to do? Because my instinct increasingly is just to glimmer all the time.
It's probably fine. You've got tons of mana regen. You're not going to take a fight anytime soon. You don't use the item on anybody else anyways, right? So, I mean, you might as well use it for yourself whenever you need it. That's probably for the best.
Sorry. I mean, no reason to save it for my allies.
This is Axe's perspective, if you're curious.
What'd you say?
This is Axe's perspective, if you're curious.
Would you look at that? Look at that. I look so juicy. Yeah. Look at me.
Pretty easy kill.
Why is my cat so upset? Sheriff, come here. Whatever, man.
It's one of the many times you didn't use Glimmer Cape on your ally. Could have saved him.
Oh, yeah. Undoubtedly. I need to save that for me, Kevin.
You should get used to it, though, using both Force. Force is usually hard to remember because it's a little different, but Glimmer is kind of straightforward. Somebody's dying, use my save item. You should kind of... I personally think of the 2 items very similar in my head. So whenever somebody's in a bad position, I just consider it, I guess.
I'm cool for having bought Dust. I'm very cool for having done that.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Didn't work, yeah. Your team as a whole just farmed like shit. This game is why you lost. Like, this is... I actually haven't seen this in a really long time. This is very...
Yeah, it feels good. It was ridiculous. An odd one.
Okay, so as a whole, I would say the Crystal Maiden game was... It was pretty good, but there's obviously some mistakes. The laning stuff was out of order.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the laning stage is really decided by the first 3 to 4 minutes where were your pulls effective? Did they connect? Did you zone the offlane properly? And it just sets so much tempo.
Super helpful.
So you just got to fix that stuff.
Dude, I am gonna go insane on my CM games, man. I'm gonna play so many. It's gonna be upsetting to be with me because all I do is talk about Crystal Maiden, man.
Ooh, yeah. There's this famous Dota player who only plays Chen, and
Sniff. He was in the chat today, man.
Yeah. The first time that I played with him in a party, I was like, what if I don't want to have a Chen on my team every single game? Or I played with the Invoker spammer once as well, and it was the same thing. I was like, what if I want to play mid one game? I just can't if I'm playing with this guy. It's actually impossible. The role is just cornered. It's definitely frustrating sometimes, but I don't think anyone's going to complain about free mana, man, so I think you'll be fine there. Okay,
yeah, dude.
So we got your line game. Started off strong with some good harass, and then you stopped paying attention to the rest of the lane, kind of, and you let this guy get in front of you. Line is honestly a very shit lane support. He is not super strong. His disable lasts for low duration. It does low damage. He's got bad armor. He's got bad movement speed. Pretty much everything just sucks. So
Felt it hard.
Probably stop playing line. I kind of feel like
dude, amen. I'm done with line, man. Fuck that guy.
Against good lane heroes, especially like an Undying, like you're just screwed basically. You can't really do much. With that said, though, if you are against a lane like this, always target the squishy guy, and it's always going to be the silencer. Undying is always he can increase his HP with his decay. He can heal himself or others, but mostly it's decay.
He is so awesome. I can't wait to play Undying.
You haven't played him yet?
No, but I did play with a friend who, like, in a game, did the Og's decay -2 second cooldown thing in these fights. He had like 8,500 hit points. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ!
That thing's crazy.
I'm just casually stealing 350 strength.
He's so one of those heroes that once you get comfortable with the skills, you just go to your lane and you stop thinking, and you just cast your spells whenever they're up. And sometimes you get like quad kills and stuff like that. It just happens. You're like, so awesome. I'm good at Dota, but really all you did was you got ganked and you happened to kill 4 heroes. That's pretty much it.
That's glorious. That is exactly who I want to grow up and be. Yeah, I mean, I was feeling the weakness there.
Hey, hey.
What a good dog. Good dog.
I heard some kid, some child playing outside, screaming or something like that. Oh man, one sec. Okay, she is sitting near me. That'll make it better now.
I love that your dog's called Tango. Oh, so good.
You did some pulls later, which was fine, but took some damage. Didn't pull through ever. Same kind of problem as before, which limits your experience in gold.
I tried to once. Yeah, I just have to work on the timing of it. And I want to share what my thought process was here. I started to harass and just realized, holy shit, these Silencer and Undying are so unbelievably good, like against us in lane. And I don't know if that's a true statement, but
it was sort of a true statement at the start, and it was certainly a true statement once you guys fed. Like once you died, the whole lane got really hard. It was kind of similar to the Slark lane. Like your mid game on this hero was very, very good. I think your mid and your late game were pretty darn good, but your laning stage kind of just sucked, and that's why you get in a bad spot.
This is the most lost I have ever felt playing as a support by far at the start of this game.
And a lot of this happens with new patches because pretty much everybody is relearning what's good and what's not good. So you'll get these like spikes where everyone's like, I should keep buying Midas, and then they buy Midas a few times, they realize it sucks now because the neutrals give less experience in gold and Midas costs more money. It's just not worth it, right? Whereas on the other side, when people buy Midases, other people are like, I'm just going to pick Undying and kill the carry every single game. And then they do that. And you have to, eventually a balance can be found where like the most popular heroes become picked constantly. And then you kind of know what's viable. So things are weird the first week. So with that said, maybe you just pick supports that are really good at the laning stage to make up for the fact that you have troubles there. So for example, I was thinking about this. Why don't you just play Bane? Bane should be the hero that you maybe play. He's really good at laning. He has really good stats, really good base armor, really good movement speed. He's got Brain Sap, which is 70 HP, 70 pure damage, and a 70 HP heal. So trading-wise, he's amazing. And he's still good at ganking. The only downside is he can't split push. So maybe Bane would be really good for you.
Well, actually,
some of those issues.
So here's a question. What would be a useful mindset? Like, let's assume that I'm only focused on Lion. How the hell am I supposed to play against the Silencer Undying combo? Is it still the same thing as harass, but be more careful with your positioning and harass the squishy?
You have to be conservative with your positioning. That's why you died the first time, or why you lost a salve at the very start. You're slapping this guy, and now you're out of position right now.
Right.
Because this guy's almost behind you, and you stayed for one attack too long, and at this point, running south was a huge mistake. You did this multiple times this game where you're like, I'm just going to walk past the Undying to safety. But if you just ran left here, you take maximum one more right click from Silencer. But instead, this Undying gets 1-2 free hits and a decay that puts you down to almost no HP. Like, that's all because of your decision to run south. Easily run left here. And then you don't take 8 hits.
And there was another time when I was running left when I could have easily just run downward to my tower. So
we have something like that. You chose to purchase, and then you're like, I'll just run past these guys.
Dude, at this point in time, I think I was just shaking my head on stream like, what is going on with my mind? Like it's almost like they had crippled my ability to think in the opening game, and then I got to mid game and I was like, oh, thank God we're not in that fucking laning phase anymore.
Yeah. Or what you could have done instead, if you're over here, just walk through the trees this way, because you can snake through the trees here and then pop out like here. And
that's actually exactly how I got there in the first place.
Okay.
I literally walked up there to get my boots and then walked back.
I mean, I could understand your feeling. You're like, oh, my carry's getting dived. I need to get in there and help. But there's no way that approaching from this direction is ever going to work against an Undying as a line. It's just
10 out of 10.
You have no armor, so.
That's the play right there, my friend.
Let me see if we have anything good on this clip. It's basically just a mix of you kind of trying to play the support stuff at this point, but you're behind, you don't have boots yet, they've got more items than you. Maybe you do pulls and stuff. You also, there's a lot of times where you could have done a pull, but you just didn't do it in time. This, I think, would have been a decent time. Let's go back and check.
I believe I did one after that.
You're helping this guy zone, but I'm sorry, when did the creep wave first get here? Looks like you just did a small pull is what happened, so that's why it's stacked. So this is basically a connect problem right here. You could have
Yep.
connected it. These creeps would have continued and died here. Then you could have came down here with the jug to get the experience. But instead, they stacked up with this next wave, which guaranteed that it pushed, which ends up with these creeps being all the way over here, which at this point, they're out of control. So because you didn't pull through there, that wave pushed. You didn't get safe last hits under your tower, and now you're having to sit out here and gamble like trading hits with a silencer and an undying. The only way this is good is if you want to force a fight, aka like initiate on them and dive them, because then you have more creeps.
Yeah, I really got to just do some proper safe lane support stuff for a while. Just play a shitload of them.
And you can't miss your opportunities to pull, which is what you do right here. You're standing around. What are you doing? What are you accomplishing?
I
You got
began
right-clicked.
the animation for an attack and then canceled it.
And you got right click twice. And because of this, you now realize, oh, I got to pull. Then you run back to pull, and you're like, well, I can't do the small camp. I'm too late for that. So then you have to do the
yes,
the
literally,
large.
literally exactly my thought
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Happens almost every game for every support. But if you miss those opportunities, okay, this creep wave's going to get denied because you did a really good pull here. But now you don't get experience for the small camp on the way through. And this is going to stack, which means these creeps probably aren't going to die anyways. So you, by doing this, you accomplished them getting less experience, but you did nothing to get yourself more experience here. Except for killing
And
this little dude.
and this is why stack pulling is really important as a carry, because you deny them the experience, and then later you're presumably going to go to that stacked camp
And farm it.
and clear it out.
And this is why pulling through as a support is so important, because you can guarantee the small camp experience, and you, sometimes, depending on your skills, you can also kill the large camp. So for every wave you pull, you get 2 waves of experience, 2 camps of experience. Does that feel good?
Okay.
But again,
All right.
this only works if you don't feed your opponents and they feel scared to come over. That's the important thing,
Ooh.
because you gotta solve that problem, which can be solved if you're strong enough at zoning them, and maybe they don't dual lane every game. So for now, just pick like really strong dual laners, because your allies aren't gonna tri lane anyways. Although if you guys did tri lane, it would be really good, because then every time they dual lane, you can just blow up the silencer at the start, and Undying can't do anything about it. And
what are some other very strong early game laners?
Ogre Magi definitely. Basically Ogre. Bane is, I think, my pick for up and coming. Let me take a look. Dazzle's super good at lane. Really, really good. Let's see some others. I think A can selectively be good. Disruptor's pretty good. Monkey King, obviously. Earth Spirit can be very good. There's not a ton of super good ones, but there's some good ones in there. Sand King can be okay, depending. Skywrath Mage can be good. Venge is very good. Witch Doctor's pretty good. Warlock's fantastic. Warlock's probably a pretty safe pick. You could play Warlock a little. You know,
Warlock.
Shadow Shaman got a damage buff.
Yeah, I mean, I especially like the range buff that's on Ancient Apparition.
Did he? Oh, was it 75 range? Did he get a
He
range
will-
buff?
From 600 to 670, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that did.
Which
happen.
makes him just like he's very chill, Lena.
I don't know if I'd say that. It's very different.
Very chill, just very chilled out.
Very, very weak on the nukes, but he does have Chilling Touch. This is another one of the failed pulls you did. So let me show you something that you're messing up pretty consistently when you're playing. Almost always when you pull and you're like, I need them to be there, all you do is run faster. That's not the right way to do it. You're not salvaging your bad pulls. The way to do that is, I'll show you exactly when you should stop moving. Right there. Because you aggroed these creeps. They want to attack you. And you're just running. Like, you're not letting them stop and attack you. So what happens is...
Oh, it's them. I thought it was them getting an aggro range of each other.
Yes, that works. Or you can aggro them by them attacking you and causing aggro.
Oh my god.
Because when they attack you,
did not know
they
that.
cause an AoE of aggro. So if you just stopped right here in like a
Oh
quarter,
my
like a
God.
quarter of a second, this guy would have ran to here and then thrown an attack at you. And as soon as
Did
that
not
attack,
know.
as soon as the attack hits you, it creates a circle, which any creeps that are unaggroed will aggro to whatever just attacked you. It could be a hero, it could be anything. So
I
by
thought
doing
that the aggro stuff was for heroes only.
this one is more like the lane creeps are programmed to run at anything that it becomes within vision of them. So it could be a hero nuking them. It could be a neutral creep being in range. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So it's just it's just different basically. Neutrals are trying to aggro attack anything that's in range, and the neutrals will run at anything that's important. If your lane creeps are aggroing an enemy lane creep or an enemy hero, if those are nearby, they won't aggro to neutrals. They'll only aggro to neutrals once they get distracted by neutrals and nothing else is around, basically. So you could have salvaged that pull and many others. Just make sure you don't let the range creep get hit first, because if that dies, then your pull through won't work and you'll just kill one smoke camp. Pulling is very, very important right now, I would say. I wrote connect error.
Yep, this is when I head over there.
This one, same
like,
problem.
Oh no.
See what's happening? You're like, come over this way, man. Come over here, you know?
Yeah. That makes it so much easier if I just stood there and got attacked.
And it looked like it was likely to fail anyways because this guy already aggroed it, and the creeps have limited leash range, so they only have like 5 seconds before they get bored. So because he's already walked this way in the wrong direction, you have even less time. So you should look at this and be like, I think he's not going to aggro as convincingly, so I need to stand right here. You should stand here, and another trick you can do, because this guy's a slow projectile, that means as he throws it, you have more time to run it to where you need it to be, to create the AoE in the right place. So you could let him attack you, and as soon as he throws it, you start walking left towards your creep wave. That way, you could walk it down here or something. Like, you could probably get from here to here, which gets the AoE a little bit closer to where the creeps would be. But instead, you force them to only aggro to the creeps, and you miss them as a result. Even this guy could have done it. But you didn't know because you ran all the way left.
Of course I did.
So that's just... Oh, I already played this one.
Bad path choice. Let's see it again. Oh no, it's still
okay.
bad.
We're good. So 10 minutes in, you had a lot of downtime. You were saying on stream, I believe, that you were kind of confused. You didn't really know what to do. Best thing to do is gank, by far. Because there's a lot of heroes that are higher level than you. Obviously, your lane isn't very safe, and the best place to do that is somewhere where they don't expect you. The way that you kind of tried to do this was you just kind of walking places and being like, I'm here! Is something going to happen? Like, hoping maybe that they walk into your stun. But obviously that's not as effective. But you just walking up with Enigma and getting a kill, it's not very likely. The better thing to do is grab a smoke, group with somebody that has an ultimate, like Jug would be good, or Puck especially. Your mid laners get more creeps, keep in mind. You need somebody that has damage because you're pretty disable heavy. Go somewhere and make a gank happen. So Puck just respawned, grab a smoke at the tier 2, run top, blow up troll together. And then you get level 5, and then your 6 comes faster, for example. But instead, you just kind of walk to lane, you show him that you're here, you're like, hey, I'm in lane now. My lane sucked, so this is my new lane.
Attack. Yep. My lane sucked, this is my new lane. That's literally my thought process.
Which doesn't accomplish anything, and Enigma now gets his 6 slower because you're standing here. So this only works if you like make a concerted effort to try for a gank and make that work.
Almost stole the last hit. Would have made it all worth it.
So this whole clip is, we're at like 11:15 now. You just hit level 5. At the end, you actually got a good, you helped out, kind of. You walked over, and you were there when Undying died. And, oh, you stunned him. It was pretty good. Okay, that got you a level. You had barely over 5 before this. But at the start of this clip, we are at 934. So between 934 and now, all you did was get half a level and grab a bounty rune, basically. Which is obviously very inefficient.
Hell yeah.
So... just got to fix those efficiency things. This was pretty good on the Bloodseeker. Just unfortunate that your damage isn't a little higher and your allies weren't there to back you up. Did you know that when Bloodseeker uses Blood Rage, he takes more damage?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I just want to make sure you understood that. Otherwise, it was a bad idea. You should have sentryed earlier too, by the way. I would have sentryed here. As soon as the charge hits and connects, you know it hits. I would have sentryed now. Probably.
Yeah. What happened was, in the middle of this fight, it suddenly dawned on me that I had a sentry. So it was very accidental.
Oh, that's fine then. No big deal. Other than that, you did pretty well. Small mistake here where you didn't chase for the disable. You should have set up for the follow-up kill. You spend all this time right-clicking this guy that's going to die. Silencer doesn't have escape. He's going to go down. And then by the time you wanted to go on this guy, he was out of range.
I actually called that. I said, I'm going to save Hex. I'm saving Hex for this guy. I just waited too long, so...
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that you waited too long. It's that you attacked a few times when you didn't need to.
I see.
So you got all these right clicks here.
I thought I was being so efficient. I thought I was sneaking in those right clicks, man. And I just shot myself in the foot.
And you were all taking damage over time, which is why he got faster. So you want to see a sad finger?
Yep. I remember this finger very well.
You chose the highest HP hero. The puck messed up as well. He should have gone in right there for silence. It's like by the time he silenced, actually the mech came out. And then you also ultied the highest HP guy.
I was trying to click on tree.
Oh, were you? Okay. Right there, kills. He gets a triple kill or a double kill at least. You actually ravaged them. Did you see that? You just ravaged them.
Oh yeah, felt good. I was convinced I was going to get... Yeah, wait. Did I not click the tree there?
You clicked right here. See, I can see tree, but this health bar here is tree. This one.
See, where my mouse is,
Yeah.
I am 100% convinced that that's still going to cast on a tree.
Your mouse is on a leaf. I'll give you that one. Unfortunately, that is the model of the Troll Warlord, who's slightly lower than him and smaller in stature. See, he's here. There's his little arm. That was really...
Okay.
I grimaced in real life when that happened.
I was just confused. What, like, literally, afterwards, what I thought was, how does Tree have that much health?
Tree does have a lot of health. He has really good strength gain, but... Yeah, you just clicked on the wrong hero. I might have... Myself, I might have tried
I literally thought I successfully hit Tree and Protector in that fight. And I was just confused.
Okay, well, I'm glad we took a look at it. Now you understand. This is like basically one of the few clips that I was able to find where it was relevant to the episode, but there was not a whole lot of high ground. It was more like team fights and they take racks afterwards. You did this, I think, at least twice in the games today, where you would ward the lane. I'm glad you did that, but you picked the wrong lane. They're not going to go to that lane anymore. They already killed that one. So generally, don't lane ward that one.
Of course, it's dead. It's dead already.
Yeah, you did that at least twice. Stun stacking here. He still had a second left of disable, so small mistake there, but
right.
Mostly the ward. You put another one here, I think, in the lane, which is pretty good, relatively fine, because they would eventually go this. But usually that trick is more for like I know they're 5-man heavy. They only stick together, and they have this opportunity to take our racks, so now I'm in a lane ward. Generally, you should put them on the map, so don't do that too often.
Coming.
Okay. Ooh, I got some audio in this one. You can't hear it, though, and the audio is not correct because it's audio from the stream, which is ahead by 2 minutes. So I thought you ganked this really well. The mistake is on Darkseer.
I'm doing this in a recap. Coming.
What Darkseer should have done is Iron Shelled your Centaur. If he does that, you get a kill easy, because that's the melee hero you have, right? I also probably would have gone this way instead. That was another mistake. Because from here, he instantly sees you, whereas if you pop out of this tree, he won't see you until right here.
I need to remember that path, yeah.
You microed it well. The only mistake you maybe made is Centaur could have attacked one more time, and the path you chose. But as a whole, it was good.
Yeah.
You could have what?
Purge one more time?
Yeah, actually. Because it's like a 5-second cooldown or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's even 3 or something. It's like ridiculously low.
Running.
Because I purge right there.
And then you stun for 2 seconds. And it's probably around here where it would have been up. You might not have been able to, honestly. Another thing he could have done is surge your Centaur, actually. Or surge in the Purge creep to make it easier to land those. And you did a lot of this too as well, kind of similar to the line thing. You kind of just went places and you kind of did stuff, but it should have been a lot more gank focused. Like, go somewhere where you know you can get a kill and then spend your time on that, rather than just kind of going places and
Why doesn't it just
hoping shit happens, kind of.
Yeah, I didn't feel that good about the early game ganks. It did not feel like there were that many opportunities, so I was trying to find a way to make something happen.
I kind of agree. I mean, the creeps that you had were kind of weak as a whole. But I had a theory about this, and that's why I called this one skill build. So let's look at your skill build right now.
Just not clicking them very well.
There's your 4-1-1. So you got 4 in Untouchable, you got 1 in Enchant, you got 1 in Heal. What have those 4 points in Untouchable done for you this game at this point? 16 minutes in.
Essentially, nada.
I feel like nothing, with the exception of once or twice. So I feel like with... Do you know that Enchant got changed, the skill?
Yeah, it's 55% slow now.
In the past, it was 20 for...
20, 30, 40, 50.
For 5.5 seconds. Now it's more slow for less duration. I feel like in a game like this, where your allies have less disable, and they don't have that many right-click heroes, at least not early, that it's not the big threat, I feel like it's worth it to get more points in enchant.
You know, I also think that even if I get 1 or 2 points in untouchable, I can stay on their side of the jungle
Easily.
for like the first 15 minutes of the game completely safely.
Because the difference between 2 points of untouchable and 4 doesn't feel like a shitload. It's like, okay, maybe they right-click you once more or something. But
that is a good idea. Yeah, and I definitely think the staying on the other side plus that plus more enchants mean I can do more severe ganks.
yeah. And you can make up for the fact that the creeps you get might suck. Because no matter what, if you have a creep, that shit can right-click. So you can rely on your creeps as a right-click source and your enchant as a disable source and help that make your ganks better. And it makes the skill lower cooldown, which means that you can take advantage of the fact that neutrals spawn every minute now. So you can just have way more neutrals all the time. Because half the time...
Enchantress is going to be sick.
Yeah, half the time you grab a creep, you run somewhere, and by the time you get there, your enchant's not off cooldown. It's a 30-second cooldown. This way, if you get a couple levels into this early, maybe even 4, you'd have a 6-second downtime, 6-second uptime, 55% slow. That's really abusable. And just imagine doing that at like level 7. Like half the time you run around, you don't use your first skill and you don't use your third skill. And those are the skills you max first. Because that was the build before. But I honestly don't think it needs to be anymore. Depends on the game though. If they have a lot of right click heroes, you might need the untouchable, you might need the heal. But I think this game, if you maxed out enchant a little earlier, I really think it could have made a big impact on your early movements and ganks.
That's going to be sick, man.
Other than that, I mean, I honestly don't think we need to look at too many of these like mid game clips. Like the team fights went okay.
I need to look up
You had mistakes casting impetus here, but
I'm gonna go to Costco where I got my.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you couldn't cast impetus on a ghost walked ethereal bear.
Because it's just like Ghost Scepter, and impetus is a right click. It's just an attack modifier.
Yeah.
So won't work otherwise. And I also think this is one of the times where I'm thinking that you probably should have just auto-casted your impetus and just right-clicked him. Because I feel personally that when I'm focusing on moving, clicking the hotkey, left-clicking them, moving, clicking the hotkey, left-click them, I miss attacks sometimes. Or sometimes I don't press the hotkey in time and I waste an attack. And at some point you just need to press it.
This whole game's execution, just hitting my buttons, felt really hard. I don't know if it's because it's just really hot in the room, or I'm tired, or that happens, or I'm actually bad and I'm at my true skill behavior. What are you meowing at? Okay, let me just briefly explain to you what's happening.
Okay.
So there's the door, okay?
Okay.
And the door is open. So the cat can wander out, but she's here and she's freaking out because she thinks that the door is shut.
Oh.
Because that's where the hinges are. She's meowing at the hinges.
Oh,
so
okay.
I need to lift my cat away from the hinges and reorient her to be able to leave the room.
Okay.
So stay here. Stay here. I'm also wearing my usual green shorts that I own like 5 pairs of. Hopefully they show up as invisible. Sheriff, this is how you get out.
Oh, I looked on the wrong place. I couldn't tell if they were
Sheriff,
invisible.
come on, get out. Come on. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. There you go. There you go. Everything's fine. Oh my God, dude! I swear, if you sit next to that cat's head, you can hear the ocean. She is not the brightest cat.
Okay, it took a while. I was like, what? What? She make ocean noises all the time, or
Yeah,
are her
meowing,
ears
she goes,
concave?
Yeah.
Okay, I think there is a I think there's a hotkey option. I know there used to be where you could press it and it would. Oh, there it is. Toggle auto attack. I need to bind this as well. A temporary toggle auto attack state. Is that it? No, that's not it. There's one that basically lets you turn on your... It's a hotkey for turning on your orb. Basically your impetus or your Viper poison attack.
Yeah, it's Altar. And Alt-Q.
Altar? Is it Altar always?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alt toggle. That's how I turn it on and off in late game scenarios.
Okay.
Because my preference is always to just R-click.
Yeah.
But in late game, I need to Alt-R and then Hurricane Pike to push them away.
Yeah, because it's way too fast, right? You attack too rapidly that you need a hotkey.
Well, the big thing is that you can't... It's really hard to R-click them if they're like pushed out of vision range and they're being like moved away.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to like cancel the attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and honestly, other than that, I don't think we really need to look at anything else. There's a couple times where I think you maybe should have just gone attack speed, perhaps, but it's hard to farm Enchantress late game. Is really what it looked like.
I really wanted attack speed this game. I felt that. I'm real happy I bought the power treads though. I like power treads more than phase boots.
Yeah, I think it's the move for sure. Maybe there's an attack speed item that could work, but it's probably just like Moonshard or something. Even like the Spirit Breaker, maybe you kill him. I don't know. Okay, let's hop in the game.
Woo! Let us play some Dota, Kevin. I also need to use the restroom.
Okay, that's good because I need to run advertisements.
Excellent.
Oh no, my game client's out of date.
Hey, my game client's out of date.
You too?
Yeah.
Well, let's do that during the break. All right, we'll be back in just a little bit, guys. I'm going to coach Sean in a live game on some hero and get him a win for the day. All right, see you guys in a bit.